Welcome to Ready Set RC, and today we have the Bezgar HP163S 16th scale RC to check it out and review for Bezgar. Full disclaimer, Bezgar reached out to me to do a review on this RC. They like my channel and they wanted us to get a feel of some of the RCs that they have. So they sent us out this offering. We're gonna see how it performs. This is my first Bezgar on the channel or ever owning. So I'm trying this out for the first time, like most of you guys will be doing if you bought the Bezgar 163S. But let's get it out of the box and see what it's all about. Bezgar sent me over this RC. I'll provide my affiliate link down in the description below so that you guys are fully aware. Bezgar has provided me with a 10% coupon code, which you can use towards the HP163S or anything on the site. It is a combined 10%, so it's not just solely on one item, it's on your purchase. So if you go on Bezgar's site, see things that you want to purchase, this 10% coupon code will be applied to your entire purchase. Great value, guys. So if you're interested in purchasing this, you get a little money off, and it also helps out the channel. The warranty activation card, the owner's manual, which also has the HP161S up here on the top. For you guys, if it's your first RC, go through the manual. It has some good information in regards to running this for the first time, understanding how to operate the RC. It's in several different languages, so feel free to give it a read. Comes well packaged up. Nicely boxed. The wing, you have to install that. Looks like there's some more stuff inside this box. Let's see what that's all about. We have the wheelie bar. We'll be installing that. The wing, this is the 2S LiPo battery. Nice. LiPo bag. Always be safe, guys. Store and also charge your LiPos in a safe container. Preferably, I say, if you're transporting, to and from your bass spot, these are great bags for that, and they're also good to charge your RCs in. This is interesting. I don't know if this is how it comes or if this was because it was being sent to me, but there are two USB chargers in here. You have a screwdriver and a T-wrench. And then we have the transmitter. Nice one-handed. Foam wheel. Doesn't seem to have too much rotation left or right, and the foam feels very firm. But it's a nice functional controller. I have this controller with the MJX, another RC that I've recently had on the channel, and they perform well, guys. These are very good first-time controllers. They perform pretty well. The controller takes 2 AA's. Down below, there is a set screw that's in there. You can remove that screw, and you don't have to have it in there all the time, but you can remove the screw out of there and be able to install and remove your batteries as you see. I'm gonna go ahead and get the wing and the wheelie bar installed and come back and go through this truck. I just wanna let you guys know that when you're mounting the wheelie bar, you have to remove the 2 screws that are already in there. Then what you're gonna do is you're going to, how I did it, I mounted the 2 screws down here below, and then I took the longer screws and I'm mounting the wheelie bar in. This cross member that's here, that mounts into the bumper, it does pivot. So you just need to pivot that to an angle that it fits into the bumper properly like we're doing here and screwing that in. And I'll just do the other screw in there. And you guys can see it's on there nicely. There are 3 mounting positions on the wheelie bar. And we'll talk about that later as we go through the car, but I just want to let you know that too as well. And since we got the tires off to mount the wheelie bar, I'm going to speak about this really quickly. There is a 12mm hex that's on here. It is composite, but I just wanted you to know that as well, that we do have a 12mm hex. So if you have other 12mm wheels and tires, you could probably mount them up on here with no problems. I'm going to talk about this really quickly as you're mounting up the wing. Mounting up the wing, the top screws are very easy to go in. No problems whatsoever. The bottom ones, you're just gonna have to play with the angles a little bit, I'm not sure if that's coming up on the camera well, but these bottom screws, especially on this side, are a lot more harder to deal with. You're going to either have to play with the angle, use a special screwdriver, not the one that comes with it, or remove the motor fan to get to that angle properly for that last screw in the corner. This one's, the one on the battery side is not that hard to go in the way it is, but it's still at these, it's tight, much tighter than putting in the top screws though. I just want you guys to know that too as we're putting this in. But we got the wing all mounted up. I'm gonna put the tires back on and we're gonna continue the video. What I didn't mention on the controller previously is that you have a throttle limiter on there. So the two positions is 70% and 100%. Here we are, guys, with the truck all buttoned up, the wing on, and also the wheelie bar. The shell reminds me of those Team Magic RCs that used to come out a while back, and always liked them. We just really don't get those much in the States. The Bezgar HP163S shares the same chassis as the Bezgar HP161S. It's a 1/16 scale brushless RC, four-wheel drive, and it comes with two 2S. They are both 25C LiPo packs. This RC is 2S and 3S capable. It does not come with the 3S packs, but it is capable of running on 3S. Bezgar is saying with the 2S packs, you're able to approach speeds of 28 miles per hour. I think that'll be plenty for this RC. We'll see how it performs on 2S. And then on 3S, they're saying that this can approach speeds of 40 miles per hour. I think that'll be insane for an RC of this size. I'm a little tempted if I was to run this on 3S to go ahead and stick that on 70%. I think for a 16 scale RC, that will probably be best for it. Typical how I find on these RCs, the tread pattern feels good, but they're not foam filled. But I tend to find that a lot on these 16th scales. And it just feels like your typical plastic shell, screen printed. Feels nice and firm. We'll see how this thing takes the bashing and crashing, but has a good weight to it. Feels decent in the hands. In the front, we have a nice composite bumper with a support behind it. There is lights on this RC, and the lights are actually in the bumper. We have composite shock bodies with a little bit of aluminum on the shock cap, and they are screw down adjustable. These shocks do have oil in them, and they don't feel too bad for a 16th scale RC. I'm seeing two adjustments down below on the suspension arms and two adjustments for the shocks above on the shock tower. There are no adjustments for the shell, and we're looking at Phillips head hardware throughout. Oh, this is a really nice touch, guys, and I'll bring you in for it, but CVA type drive shafts in the front and also on the rear. Typically, you don't see that on 1/16 scale RCs. Normally, you'll see dog bones all around, or you may see some CVD type drive shaft in the front and dog bones in the rear, but I'm seeing CVD type drive shafts in the front and the rear. Really nice touch, Bezgar. We have a 3-wire servo with a servo saver. That's a nice touch. And the good thing about that is if you ever wanted to swap out your servo, you have options. Feels silky smooth. I gotta say that. It does feel really smooth. Plastics on this feel decent. They feel pretty good. Composite chassis, looks like a composite tower-to-tower brace on there. So in the front, as I mentioned before, body mounting is not adjustable, but in the rear, there are some adjustments available for it. We have the same kind of shocks in the rear where there are composite, oil-filled, coil-over, and screw-down adjustable mounting positions on the support arm for the shocks. There's 3. Shock tower, we have 2 mounting positions. There is no camber or toe adjustment in the rear. Once you get the wing on, it feels good. Feels pliable, doesn't feel like it's gonna break on your first crash or anything like that. It feels very flexible. And that's also with the bumper, everything feels flexible. I don't think these wheels are on ball bearings. They don't feel like it, but they do spin nicely. So if you hit that wheelie, it's gonna feel good. I did mention before, there are additional mounting positions for the wheelie bar. There are 3 actually. Right now it's in the center position, and there are 2 other positions to move the wheelie bar, which is good if you want to get those wheelies up on it. The 163S has a full metal drivetrain, and what that means is the ring and pinion in the front and the rear, that's metal. The center drive shaft, that's metal. And it is a direct drive system. So there is no slipper clutch associated with this RC. There are ball bearings throughout the HP163S. As for the electronics, you have a separate receiver and ESC. The ESC is a 45 amp brushless ESC, and with the motor we have a 2845 brushless motor. The servo on this is a 17 kilogram metal gear servo. That's nice, guys, because typically what we'd see with these RCs is it would be a plastic geared servo. So what are my pre-run thoughts of this? I'm impressed, guys. I'm impressed with the amount of quality that I'm seeing going into this. For everything that you get with it, with the 2 LiPo packs, the chargers, the LiPo bag, fairly decent controller for a new enthusiast RTR, the CVD drive shafts in the front and the rear, the feel of this RC, everything feels the part, guys. This thing feels really good in the hands. The fact that this having a separate ESC receiver, another plus for it as well. What would I have liked to have seen differently on this? First thing, the battery. I wish they had a more structured style, what everyone else is doing, the hook and loop, Velcro, anything other than a proprietary base system when it comes down to the battery, because I don't think folks want to run a proprietary Dean's connector pack. I think we want to be able to run what we want to run. My concern with the lip here and running a 3S pack in there, having to do some kind of adjustments to run standard packs in here, that's a gripe for me. I would prefer to have seen hex hardware throughout this RC, you know, other than seeing the Phillips heads throughout. I didn't have a problem with the Phillips head ones that I did put in there, but I would have preferred to have seen some hex hardware throughout this. For a new enthusiast, probably getting the RC with everything already on it, meaning the wing and the wheelie bar. I understand they're probably doing that to, you know, prevent any type of breakages as it's coming in, but it doesn't take much to put this equipment on, and probably best to have it on prior to you getting the RC. Outside of that, I really do like what I'm seeing with this. This is some really good quality. The composite chassis feels really good. Feels smooth, and I like how everything just butts up nicely. The hinge pins are exposed here, but I don't think that's going to cause a problem, especially with an RC of this size. I like what I see, and I can't wait to get this thing out. And as I go through the site, there are some optional parts that you can purchase. Paddle tires, optional bodies that you can purchase. So this chassis also fits the 161S, and that's another optional part that you can purchase, along with the 3S battery pack, the 3S proprietary battery pack. %. This thing's got some juice. Not bad. All right, let's kick it up to 100. A little over 95. So I don't know how long this is going to take. And this is on 2S, guys, so you're clear. This is what you're getting with the 2S pack that comes with it. I'm not running my own packs. I wish there was a little bit of dual rate because there's a lot of oversteer on this. So I wish this did have a dual rate on there I could kind of tune out that oversteer, but outside of that, I'm liking this. Yeah, that's the one thing I wish this had, was some form of dual rate on there, and this would be perfect. So Bezgar, if you're watching, dual rate, you guys need that on these cars. But this is a perfect little car. We're gonna wrap it up right here. So guys, after the first run of the Bezgar HP163S, what do I think? Well, let's go over the easy stuff first. The controller, as I mentioned before, it's really good in the hands, feels good. I like it. I like that there's a throttle limiter here. You have 70% and 100% for the throttle. You have the steering trim right here. It's very simple. 2 AA's down below. Excellent. Very simple controller to use. The only thing that I would like to see this controller have going forward is some form of steering dual rate, because that was the one thing that I was unable to control, because there was a little bit of oversteer with this RC, and I felt if I had a dual rate to it, I could probably adjust that through the dual rate versus not having that. Now, the area that I ran, it's loose surface. Traction is going to be a little bit hard to do, so depending on where you run it, you may not have as much oversteer as I was getting on this RC, but I thought that was one of the things that if I had dual rate on this, I could probably negate the effects that I was getting while I was driving it. Outside of that, this controller felt good. It's really easy to control with one hand. It feels good in the hand. It's an excellent controller, no cutting out. Reception was pretty good. Responsiveness was pretty good. I like this controller. Now, moving on to the RC itself. And you guys can see I've put it through its paces, and the dampening, it's a little stiff now, a little stiff as, you know, as to when it came out of the box, but we've put it through its paces. The tires hooked up well in the area that I ran it in, no issues there. I still have the overlay, and I'll take that off, on the shell. So I still have the overlay that comes with the plastic that comes on with it. I usually use it as some form of protective shell until it gets so beat up, then I peel it off. But it's still on there. It held up on the shell pretty good. No issues there. No rubbing or stress marks where you can see right through the shell on there at all. For the truck itself, no overheating, no cutting out of the power. This power stays on pretty good. I was a little apprehensive when it came to running this on 2S. I was expecting the speed to be moderate, nothing crazy on it, but this thing is a nutball on 2S. You don't need 3S. 2S on this RC is more than enough. I thought that was perfect for it. The only thing that I've either broke or stressed was the screws on the rear here, and that's why you're seeing the wing is a little off. And that's because of the landings, some of the landings that I had, and you can see the screws already popping out. I stressed the screws on the rear, and that may or may not be it pulled right through the plastic or not. I'll investigate that a little bit further, but that's the only issue that I had with it. Otherwise, this thing was a blast to run. I'll show you the chassis underneath, still in one piece. None of the hinge pins are bent. This thing was a little tank. And I gotta say, guys, if you are looking at the Bezgar HP163S and considering if this is something that you want to buy either for your kid or as a first RC for yourself, go ahead. This thing is a little beast. It takes a beating. I had no real issues with it other than I mentioned the wing, which I think that's minor for me to even speak about or repair. The body holds up well. It has good speed for it, so the 2S packs that come with it I think are more than enough. You don't need to move over to 3S for this. I think 2S is going to be perfect for you. And if you think it's too much speed, you could always switch it down to the 70% on the throttle limiter here on the controller. But You know, if I had to say anything about this car, it's a winner. It's worth picking up this 16th scale RC. It's just a really fun drive, guys. And if you drive it how I showed it on the video, you're gonna truly enjoy it. If you guys are interested in purchasing the Bezgar HP163S, use the affiliate link down in the description below. It helps out the channel and it shows Bezgar that you guys are coming to Ready Set RC to get a fair opinion on the RC and to go ahead and purchase it based on my opinions. But we're gonna leave it here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for the latest posts to the channel. This is Ready Set RC signing out. Thanks again, guys.